Hi everyone, I'm going to start with different basic watercolor techniques which will help you to create different tones and texture. This is class number 1. Alright, so let's get started. So you should always have two set of bowls whenever you start painting with watercolor or any painting for that matter. First bowl will have fresh water where you're going to just clean your brush. First bowl is to clean brush, second is to take water for painting. Okay, so whenever you do any artwork you should always have two set of bowls for the. So now you're seeing my paper. This is around 150 GSM paper because you slightly need a thick paper for watercolor paintings, otherwise the paper is going to tear while performing the art, while doing the painting. So you should always take a slightly thick paper. So watercolor papers are also specially made so that it absorbs lot of water. So you can also go for such papers specially designed for watercolor paintings, or if you are a beginner you can take any paper that has slightly higher GSM like around 150. Alright, so let's get started. In the first section I'm going to teach you first technique of watercolor, that is flat wash. Okay, so I'm taking a flat brush for this work. So I'm cleaning my brush in water, and next I'm going to start painting. So here as a beginner I'm going to use this camel watercolor cakes. Alright, they best suit. If you do not have that you can use any of them which you have. Okay, so I will take pink color to start with. Alright, so let me just give little bit of information. So whenever you take color and when you're starting with a base coat, you should always have a very light tone of whatever color you're taking. Alright, so you should take a little bit of pigment, then dip it and dilute it nicely in water. Alright, and then you have to take that particular pigment or paint in your brush. Alright, and then now let's start painting. Now this is called as flat wash, when we just paint the pigments evenly. Okay, there is no dark or light layer. You evenly paint from top to bottom. Such kind of watercolor technique wherein we take a flat brush or any kind of brush and then dip it in water and paint it evenly is called as flat wash, where the tone of the surface is same. Alright, so next I'm going to dip my brush in the brush wash bowl. Okay, and then next technique that I'm going to show you is making gradations, how to make different grades in with watercolor. Okay, for that I'm going to choose blue color. So see carefully, I've dipped my brush in clean water. First step is to dip your brush in clean water and then add few drops of water wherever you're going to take the pigment. Okay, and then nicely swirl it so that you have enough pigment for you to paint. So this is only once you're going to take the color. Okay, and then we are going to start painting. Observe carefully how I'm doing it. Okay, I've done 2 times. Now I'm going to dip my brush in water. Okay, and then start painting. Again I'm going to dip brush in water, take little excess water and then start painting. Then again I'm going to dip some excess water and then start painting. Again I'm going to dip brush in water, take excess water and then paint. So gradually you can see the tone has reduced from very dark to light. So this is the different grades which we can produce. Next technique that I'm going to show you is called as wet on wet. Okay, for that technique again I'm going to dip my brush in clean water and paint the surface with water. Okay, so I'm just going to paint my surface with water. I'm going to take a lot of water here so that I can diffuse different colors. Alright, so this is called as wet on wet. Now I'm taking my favorite pink and just keeping my brush and see how beautifully the colors are diffusing on themselves, right? So depending upon where the water is, the colors just diffuses. So I'll just keep it at some more places, alright, and let color diffuse on its own. Now again I'm going to clean my brush, take some good fresh water, and then I'm going to take purple color. Alright, and then again I'm going to just keep my brush over the paper, and you can see how beautifully the colors have mixed, blend, diffused with each other. You can try with different colors and see how the colors diffuse, and you can beautifully study and observe the patterns of each color's diffusion. Okay. So next technique is called as wet on dry. Wet on dry basically means that our paint is wet, but the surface on which we are going to paint is going to be dry. So this is called as wet on dry. So now I'm going to wet my brush in clean water, take away excess water, and then I'm going to take green color, nicely mix it. And then I'm going to paint some leaves. Okay, you can do any kind of shading here. Alright, so this is called as wet on dry. So basically it means you're going to just paint with wet paint onto a dry surface. This is called as wet on dry technique. Alright, so next we are going to practice the technique that is called as graffito. In graffito we need to make some markings using a different paper or just a brush. You can take any pin or anything that is slightly pokey in nature and make a shape here. Okay, so in this section I'm going to make a star, okay, just by pressing my brush, back side of the brush I have just taken to make the star, and I'm going to make some more designs. Alright, so now that I've made the shape, next I'm going to take my brush, dip it in water nicely, and I'm going to paint. For this I'm going to take yellow color. Okay, and paint. And after painting you can see how the shape that I have created here, it is easily visible, right? So this kind of a technique is called as graffito. So this kind of shapes are usually, this technique is basically used to draw veins in leaves. Okay, so here I will show you. If you just make serrations like this, you need to take a slightly sharper brush and then make veins like this. Alright, now we will take a different brush and take lighter tone of green and just mix here. See how beautifully you can see the serrations, right? So this kind of technique is called as graffito. Alright, so the next technique that I'm going to be using is showing you guys is called as color lifting. Alright, so using this color lifting technique we will be able to create many wonderful artwork. So to show that, I'm going to take sky blue color and I'm going to paint. So just you can do a flat wash with that color. Alright, so once you completely paint, what you have to do is you will take a tissue, Okay, you will take a tissue and then lift the colors up. So this is called as color lifting. So you're going to press hard like this. Okay, and you can create beautiful clouds, right? Or any kind of texture can be easily created with this color lifting technique. This is so much I can do, right? Because love, you will not understand. Very kind.